There's a specific kind of room parents instantly recognize: the half-empty water cups, the crumpled papers, the socks that somehow made it under the desk. 3 unfinished projects sitting beside each other, like they all got interrupted mid-thought. And right in the middle of it, your child looks completely unbothered. Maybe they're reading. Maybe they're building something. Maybe they're staring into space while holding a pencil they forgot they picked up 10 minutes ago. And you stand there thinking, how can a child this intelligent live like this? Because this is the same kid who notices tiny mistakes in movies, the same kid who asks questions adults can't answer, the same kid who remembers facts nobody else remembers, but somehow they lose every water bottle they've ever owned. And that contradiction can make parents deeply confused. It looks careless. It looks lazy. Sometimes it even looks disrespectful. But what if the mess isn't the real story? What if the room is actually showing you exactly how your child's brain works? A lot of intelligent kids don't ignore a mess on purpose. Their attention just works differently. When something captures their brain, everything else simply fades into the background. It's like a camera lens that is zoomed in so tightly on one specific flower that the rest of the garden becomes a blur. That's why a child can walk past the same pile of clothes 5 times and genuinely stop seeing it, not because they're pretending, but because their brain is somewhere else entirely. You tell them to clean their room. They start walking toward the pile, but halfway there, they notice a broken toy on the shelf. Then they start wondering how the hinge works. Then they remember a video they watched 3 weeks ago. Then they disappear into another train of thought completely. And suddenly, 30 minutes have passed. The room is still messy, but inside their head, 100 things happened. They weren't being defiant. They just got hijacked by their own curiosity. There's another reason things stay out. Some kids leave things everywhere because objects help them hold on to thoughts. The notebook left open on the bed, the scissors left on the kitchen table, the random rock in their pocket, the unfinished drawing beside the couch. To adults, it looks like a trail of chaos, but for the child, those objects are reminders. They are visual anchors. Think about the way we use bookmarks. For these children, the physical world is the bookmark. If the object stays out, the thought stays alive. If the object is put away, sometimes the idea feels like it's been deleted. That's why certain kids get strangely upset when you suddenly clean everything. It's not that they love the mess. It's that it can feel like someone just walked into their office and erased the entire whiteboard in the middle of a project. It feels like losing their place in their own mental process. Most adults run small tasks on autopilot. Shoes off, coat hung up, plate in the sink. Done. It takes barely any mental effort. But some children don't have that automatic system yet. For them, every small action requires conscious, manual effort. Pick up the sock. Walk to the basket. Remember why you picked it up halfway there. And when a child already has a busy, overstimulated mind, those tiny actions start piling up fast. They feel heavy. Think about what happens after school, or after a long day in a loud, bright classroom. They've spent 6 hours masking, focusing, filtering, and processing everything around them. By the time they get home, they aren't being difficult. Their brain is simply out of fuel. The mess is often just a sign that their energy ran out before the task did. And then there's the hidden side of perfectionism. A lot of highly thoughtful kids struggle with something adults don't always notice. If they can't do something properly, they often avoid starting it at all. You ask them to organize their desk, but now they're thinking about, where should everything go? What if they do it wrong? What if they forget something important? What if they start and can't finish? So instead, they freeze. From the outside, it looks like avoidance or laziness, but inside the child, it feels more like a system overload. They are paralyzed by the complexity of a task that seems simple to everyone else. The mess stays because the correct solution feels impossible to reach. None of this means children shouldn't learn responsibility. Organization matters. Life skills matter. But sometimes parents accidentally turn every messy room into a character judgment. And children feel that. especially thoughtful children. Because after a while, they stop hearing, "clean your room," and they start hearing, "there's something wrong with the way your brain works." That's the part we have to be careful with. Many intelligent children already feel frustrated with themselves. They notice the forgetfulness. They notice the unfinished tasks. They notice how much easier small things seem for other people. They aren't unaware of the mess. Most of the time, they're just overwhelmed by it. When we focus only on the lost shoes or the crumpled papers, we risk making them feel ashamed of the very mind that makes them so unique. We're shouting at the scientist because the intern forgot to tidy the lab. Maybe that changes the question entirely. Maybe the question isn't, how do we force smart kids to become perfectly organized? Maybe the better question is, how do we help children build structure without making them feel ashamed of the way their mind naturally works? Because the papers will eventually be filed, the room will eventually be cleaned, but the way they feel about their own mind, that's the part that stays. The next time you see the chaos in their wake and you find the backpack full of old homework and breadcrumbs, just for a second, look past the mess. Are we willing to handle a little bit of external chaos so that their internal world has the space it needs to breathe? Because at the end of the day, do we want a perfectly clean room or a child who feels safe enough to tell us about the 100 things that happened in their head while the laundry sat on the floor?